Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we are standing on the edge of a brand new era.
And you mean that quite literally.
I do. We're talking about the moment the clock starts ticking. I want you to just close your eyes for a second.
Okay.
Imagine the scene from our last deep dive. Varaha, that massive cosmic boar, has just lifted the Earth from the cosmic ocean.
He's placed it back on its axis.
Exactly. The mud is settling. The waters are calming down. There's this heavy cinematic stillness hanging over everything.
It's a powerful image. You have the physical foundation, the mud, the water, the geography. It's all there.
But it's silent.
It's static.
There's no wind, no movement, no life.
Right. And that's the problem. It's like buying the most powerful computer you can imagine, plugging it in, hitting the power button, and just getting a black screen.
You have the hardware.
You've got the silicon, the wires, everything, but you're missing the software. And that really is the core question for today. How does the universe go from being a wet ball of mud to a functioning civilization? Because chaos doesn't just organize itself. A planet doesn't spontaneously generate, a moral code.
Right. You can't just have a world. You need a rule set. You need a clock.
An admin password even.
Exactly. So today we're looking at what the Vishnu Purana calls the universal operating system. We're going to unpack the emergence of the Saptarishis, the seven sages, and this mind-bending architecture of time called the Manvantaras.
And this is where the vibe really shifts.
It does. It goes from disaster movie to something more like Interstellar.
High concept, ancient philosophy.
Totally. And I promise you, by the end of this, any anxiety you have about your 9-to-5 schedule is going to feel very, very different when you put it up against the grand cosmic clock we're about to discuss.
It's all about that shift in perspective. We think of mythology as heroes and monsters, and we will get to plenty of those.
Oh, for sure.
But this is about administration. It's about the infrastructure of reality itself.
So let's boot up this system. We have the Earth, who installs the software. The sources point to the Saptarishis.
Right.
Now, be honest. When you hear seven sages, what's the first image that comes to mind? For me, it's seven old guys with beards sitting in a cave.
Humming. Yeah, totally disconnected.
Exactly.
And that's the common misconception. We see them as ascetics, which, in terms of lifestyle, they are. Simple, detached, but functionally, that's not their role at all.
So what is their role?
They are the knowledge guardians of the universe. And if we stick with your computer analogy, which is actually perfect here,
Okay.
Brahma, the creator, provides the hardware, the raw material, the atoms.
So Brahma builds the machine.
Correct. But the Saptarishis, they're the lead software engineers.
So they aren't just consumers of the universe. They are literally coding it.
They are writing the source code. The texts say they provide the dimensions, the framework for the new world. They aren't just meditating for personal enlightenment.
No.
They're defining the parameters. They write the code that governs the movement of stars, the lifespan of human beings, the natural laws that physics will follow.
See, that's a huge distinction. I always just assumed rishis were people who realized the truth after years of study, but you're saying they instituted the truth?
In this specific context, yes.
Yeah.
They're setting the constants. They aren't discovering gravity. They're implementing it.
But where does that knowledge come from? I mean, if the world is brand new, if the mud just dried, did they go to some cosmic university who taught them?
That's the fascinating part. The texts describe them as the mind-born sons of Brahma.
Mind-born sons. Okay, unpack that for us, because that sounds a bit abstract.
It implies that their knowledge is intrinsic. It's not learned. They didn't have to run experiments or fail or try again or peer review papers.
It's just
The knowledge of the Vedas, the universal laws, is hard-coded into their very existence. They are direct manifestations of Brahma's intent.
So they're basically preloaded programs, like firmware.
In a way, yes. Their job is to bridge that gap between Brahma's raw, creative energy and a functioning society. They're there to maintain Dharma.
And Dharma here doesn't just mean righteousness, right?
No, in this context, it's much bigger. It's cosmic order. It's the difference between a galaxy that spirals correctly and one that just collapses in on itself.
They're the firewall against chaos.
That is a great way to put it. They ensure the system runs as intended. But, and this is where it gets interesting, they aren't the only administrators.
Right, because every OS has different user accounts. You have the developers, but you also need managers.
Exactly. The source material distinguishes between two types of authority. You have Saptarishis, the scientists, the legislative branch holding the knowledge, but then you have the Manu.
The Manu, and this is a title, not a person's name.
Correct, it's a position. Think of the Manu as the political or administrative head of an era. If the Saptarishis are the Supreme Court, the Manu is the president, or the king.
Okay.
The Manu handles the propagation of the species, social order of the population. The Rishis handle the laws of nature.
So it's a separation of powers. You've got the scientists writing the laws of physics, the Saptarishis, and the administrator running the population, the Manu.
Yes. And their term of office is strictly defined. And this is where we have to talk about the clock speed of this operating system.
Oh boy. I was reading the notes on this and the numbers they're frankly terrifying. It breaks your brain a little bit.
It's meant to. The Vishnu Purana measures time in units called Manvantaras.
Manvantara,
Yeah.
which literally means the interval of a Manu.
Correct. A Manvantara is the administrative reign of one specific Manu and one specific set of Saptarishis.
So like a presidential term or a fiscal quarter.
A very, very, very long presidential term. Let's look at the math because this is where that interstellar vibe really kicks in.
Okay, let's do it.
One Manvantara lasts for 71 Mahayugas.
And a Mahayuga is what exactly?
A Mahayuga is the full cycle of the four ages, Satya, Treta, Dvapara, and Kali Yuga, all combined. That is roughly 4.32 million human years.
Wait, pause. One Mahayuga, just one cycle of the four ages, is over 4 million years.
Yeah.
And a Manvantara is 71 of those.
Yes. So one term of office for these administrators, one single shift for the Saptarishis is about 306 million human years.
306 million years. That is unfathomable. That's longer than the dinosaurs existed?
It is. The dinosaurs were around for what, 160 million years?
Something like that, yeah.
So a single Manvantara is basically double the entire reign of the dinosaurs.
And that's just one shift.
That is just one shift. To give you the full equation from the source,
Oh, go on.
14 of these Manvantaras make up just one single day of Brahma. And that period is called a kalpa.
Hold on. So 14 of these 300 million year eras are just one day for the creator.
One single day. Roughly 4.32 billion years.
Yeah.
And then Brahma goes to sleep for a cosmic night of the same length, and the universe dissolves.
This brings up a really crucial distinction, doesn't it, between how these texts view history and how we in the modern West view it.
Absolutely.
I think most of us see time as an arrow.
Linear time.
Right. A straight line. We start at the Big Bang, we move through history, we progress, and we move toward whatever the end is. The timeline in a history book always goes left to right.
But the Puranic view, and what the Saptarishis are guarding, is cyclic time. It's not an arrow, it's a wheel.
A wheel.
Systems are born, they flourish, they decay, and they are destroyed. And then they are born again.
It feels almost pointless. Why design it that way? Why not just have one system that lasts forever? If you create a perfect OS, why do you need to reboot it every 4 billion years?
Because of novelty. The source makes a really interesting point here. The destruction of an old system is what ensures the universe doesn't stagnate. It allows for a refresh.
It's the difference between leaving your computer on for 10 years straight versus restarting it to clear out the bugs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Entropy builds up. Errors creep in. In this view, as time moves forward within a cycle, things actually degrade. Dharma degrades. So the reset isn't a tragedy, it's a necessity. It's a feature, not a bug.
But here's the problem with a restart, and anyone who's had a hard drive crash knows this panic.
You lose your data.
You lose your data. If the universe resets, if the oceans rise and cover the earth, what happens to the wisdom, to the Vedas, the core code of the universe?
That's the trillion-dollar question. Does the next universe have to start from scratch? Does new humanity have to rediscover fire?
Exactly. Reinvent language. Spend 1 million years figuring out which berries are poisonous again.
No. And this is where the Saptarishis come back in. This is their most critical function. They aren't just writing code.
They're saving it.
The ultimate backup drive.
Ha.
They are the data backup center. When a Manvantara ends and the cycle is about to reset, during that transition period, the Saptarishis don't just dissolve. They hold the continuity.
They go somewhere.
They utilize a higher state of existence, a higher plane to withstand the transition. They are the cloud storage that survives the hardware reboot.
I love that. They are the thread that connects the different beads of time.
Without them, every new creation would start from absolute zero. We'd be relearning everything. The Saptarishis ensure the new creation starts with the wisdom of the old one. They carry the blueprint across the gap.
That is such a cool image. Standing in the void between worlds, holding the blueprints for the next reality while everything else just dissolves around you.
It's a burden of responsibility that's hard to even imagine. It's not about their own survival. It's about the survival of truth.
But here is where I want to pause and pivot to our mirror moment.
Right. Let's ground this. Otherwise, it's just big numbers and space talk.
Exactly. Most of us are not cosmic software engineers. We're worrying about a deadline next Tuesday or a meeting in an hour. When you look at a timeline of billions of years, it's easy to feel, well, nihilistic.
To feel like, so what? Nothing I do matters.
Exactly. If the universe is just going to wipe the server anyway, why does my contribution count? How does this apply to us?
I think it applies directly to the value of time and how we see our own legacy. We live in a world of 24-hour news cycles and instant gratification. We overreact to small wins and small losses constantly.
We treat a bad Tuesday like it's the apocalypse.
We do. We are trapped in microtime. We're obsessed with the next 15 minutes. The Manvantara mindset, if we can call it that, invites us to engage in macro thinking.
It's about lengthening your time horizon.
Drastically. There's a concept in architecture called cathedral thinking. The builders who laid the foundations of the great cathedrals in Europe knew they would never see the spire. They would be dead long before the roof is on.
They were building for their grandchildren's grandchildren.
That's the Saptarishi vibe.
Yeah.
That is it, exactly. So the challenge to you listening is, what are you establishing? Just as the Saptarishis create a blueprint for an era, what is the blueprint for your life?
That's a heavy question.
It is. True legacy isn't about the immediate result you get this week. It's about what knowledge, what values you're protecting. What is the data backup you are creating for the people who come after you?
So if your personal Manvantara ended today, what data would be saved? What wisdom would you pass on?
It's meant to humble the ego. When you look at your problems against the backdrop of a day of Brahma, they shrink. The flat tire, the rude email, it all becomes noise. But conversely, your responsibility grows. You realize you are part of a chain of knowledge.
I like that. It's not that you're insignificant. It's that you're part of a very long, very important relay race. And you have to pass the baton cleanly.
Precisely. You are the Saptarishi of your own family, your own community. You are the guardian of your own little slice of the universe.
Okay, so we have this perfect system. We have the Saptarishis keeping the code clean, Manvantaras keeping time, this cyclic nature ensuring freshness. It sounds utopian. A well-oiled cosmic machine.
I sound perfect. On paper.
I hear a but coming. I can hear it in your voice.
There's always a but. Even in a divinely architected system, there is one bug that is almost impossible to patch out.
And let me guess, it's not a software bug. It's a user error.
It's ego. The source material points to a massive pivot here. Stability, unfortunately, breeds complacency. When everything runs too smoothly, even the gods themselves start to take the system for granted.
They forget they're just holding the baton. They start thinking they own the race.
Exactly. And we have a specific story coming up that illustrates this perfectly, don't we?
We do.
It involves Indra, the king of the gods,
Right.
the executive in charge of the heavens. He is at the height of his power. The system is working perfectly.
He's sitting in the corner office with his feet up.
Pretty much. And because of that arrogance, he makes a fatal mistake. And it involves a simple flower garland.
A flower garland, that seems minor.
It seems minor. It was a gift from a sage, Durvasa, who is known for his intensity.
A very volatile figure.
Very. He offers this garland to Indra as a mark of respect. But Indra, he's too cool for it. He disrespects it. He tosses it on the head of his elephant, who then pulls it down and tramples it in the dust.
Ouch.
And that garland, it wasn't just a flower. It represented Shri, prosperity itself.
And because he tossed it aside.
That disrespect triggers a system-wide crash. The source describes it as the loss of Shri across the entire universe. Suddenly, plants don't grow, rituals don't work, the gods physically lose their luster, their glow.
The universe goes bankrupt.
It goes bankrupt. The perfect operating system freezes, the screen goes blue, and this creates the necessity for one of the most famous events in mythology, the churning of the ocean, the Samudra Manthan.
They have to churn the entire cosmos just to get the power back.
Wow. So we go from this perfect order of the Saptarishis to a desperate scramble for survival, all because of one moment of ego.
It shows that maintaining the order is just as hard as creating it. The Saptarishis can write the code, but if the users lose their humility, the system creates its own correction. That is the perfect setup for our next deep dive. We are going to cover the fall of ego and the curse of Durvasa. We'll see exactly how Indra messed up and the massive cosmic tug-of-war it took to fix it.
It's like a classic story of why you should never, ever disrespect the source of your knowledge.
Absolutely. So, to wrap up today, we started with the silence after the mud settled. We met the Saptarishis, our cosmic software engineers.
And we learned about the massive scale of Manvantaras, 306 million years of pop. and the importance of cyclic time.
And hopefully we've all reflected a bit on our own role as data guardians.
Understanding the depth of time helps us respect the continuity of knowledge. It helps us worry less about the moment and focus more on the legacy.
If you enjoyed this cosmic perspective, if it made your daily stress feel a little smaller and your sense of purpose a little bigger, share this deep dive with a friend. Be a part of passing that knowledge along.
The search for truth continues.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you in the next cycle.